Welcome to the November 6th Conservation Commission meeting. You could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. All right. First thing on our agenda tonight is Jen Hager from Planning. It's the vote to approve and accept and sign conservation restriction for Forest Edge.
As most of you know, many moons ago, we approved the Forest Edge condominium project that's off Blackstone Street. It's about 84 condominium units. It's on Ariel Drive, a boulevard with a loop. And part of that approval was to permanently restrict just over 9 acres, almost 10 acres in Sutton, and an additional 40 plus acres in the town of Grafton. We, of course, cannot act on Grafton's behalf. I am working with the town of Grafton to make sure that acreage gets locked down in a conservation restriction. But we've worked with town council, the developers council, and the state to finalize and formalize the agreement for the acreage in Sutton. Last night, the Board of Selectmen voted to approve the form, and just like the last one I brought to you guys for Leland Hill Estates, the commission will technically hold this restriction, so the commission needs to vote to approve the form, but also accept the responsibility, accept the restriction on behalf of the town, and be the one to hold that. You'll see some pictures in your iPad from the baseline survey I did out there on our acreage. There's a little pond out there behind Forest Edge, significant beaver activity on some very large trees, and just a really nice little area, a nice stream bed running into the pond. But at least the Sutton portion is not really kind of easily publicly accessible. So you have to go behind the units and kind of down these slopes through lots of bramble to get in there. Sutton's acreage will be accessible once Grafton finishes their side, and you can come in off Follett Street and then wander through to the Sutton side, should you want to do that. So this restriction, all of these restrictions, we preserve the right for the public to go on there. We don't really promote it because it's not appropriate for hundreds of people to be trampling over these areas, some which are very sensitive. But the public can legally go on these areas just for recreation, wandering around, so to speak. So, again, it's taken way too many years to get this to you, but we've made a concerted effort over the last 6 months to really all work together and get this locked down. So your signature is the last thing, and then it goes to the Secretary of Environmental Affairs, Catherine Theorides, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name. She's really awesome, at the state, and then this goes on file at the registry, and that acreage is permanently locked down. And again, I will continue to work with Grafton to lock down their side as well.
Please use a black pen.
On this one, it actually does not matter. It can be black or blue. No. So the red sticky is where you sign. The pink sticky is just on the baseline report. I didn't know if you guys wanted to, look at some of the photos. Those are black and white, so they're nowhere near as good as the one on your iPad, but.
Brandon, do you have anything on this? Do you guys want
Not
to see the
quite.
photos? Wanna pass
This
it back and
goes
forth?
way back, so would like to know exactly where it is, and also if, like with Leland Hill Estates, Jen, did you have have them with the bounds on it?
So this is the acreage in Sutton, right here.
Yep, that triangle.
So you've got the little edge of the pond there, and the stream flow that goes into it. This is where the beaver activity is over here. And this is the acreage in Grafton that we'll be working to lock down.
Okay.
So, and this project's been in construction since probably 2002, I think. It suspended construction for a while due to an ongoing lawsuit. That's been settled, and now they're back in construction on the second phase. So that little funky triangular piece is the one that the photographs are from, and that we will lock down tonight with your signature. And then I need to kind of focus on Grafton and kind of help them through their process with the planner over there.
Okay, and did the town hire someone to do the baseline survey and study?
No, I did the baseline
You did
survey
it?
and study. Yep,
Okay.
Yep, as I did with Leland Hill Estates as well.
So we know where the bounds are and everything.
The front bounds, the baseline study actually doesn't include locating the bounds. In this particular parcel, that whole right sideline is almost all stone wall.
Mm-hmm.
So you can locate it pretty easily. The front line, there are bounds in there, but they're iron pins on that front line. So, and that's right where all the brambles are, all kind of along most of that front line. So I couldn't easily locate those bounds, but that right-hand bound, a lot of that is stone wall, as well as a portion of that, the northeast, lot line is stone wall as well.
Kinda weird how it.
Actually, and the northwest lot line is stone wall as well. The one coming into and out of the pond is stone wall, both of those. So you
That's
can
funny.
pick them up pretty easily.
Funny how it has that pot handle.
Yeah, that's very,
Is that anything of significance?
well, no, cause it stretches over into Grafton, so that's just a little line that popped
Oh,
over the town line.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the majority of the open space for this project is actually in another town, but, we'll get it pinned down, so.
Thank you.
Joyce, anything on this?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if Grafton's CR is gonna align with the things that are in our,
Yeah, the only weird complication in the Grafton one is that, the developer actually will have a cutout kinda in the middle of their open space, relatively small, about 1.8 acres for a potential cell tower site. And that's what's complicating the CR over there, cause we wanna make sure regardless of what he does or doesn't do with the cell tower site, that other acreage, 47-ish acres, still gets locked down. So, largely, what we always use is a state model for the CR, and then we just revise from there. So we try to make sure they mirror each other. There's just some language they're tripping up on, trying to accommodate that weird parcel that's kind of in the middle of it. So, other than that, it's largely the same. Now, obviously, it's not in our town, even though it's a condition of one of our projects. So if Grafton chooses to be more strict or more lax on something, we really can't control that. We just wanna make sure that the base protections from basically, the whole intent of this CR process and restrictions are maintained. And frankly, the state's very, very tough on that, and making sure that you don't enact a conservation restriction that ends up really not protecting much of anything. So they're very consistent right now, the language.
I was in Jen's office last year when she came in from the field from doing that, so she looked like she'd been through a few brambles.
Yeah, I actually got stuck out there. I had been to Leland Hill and Forest Edge both on the same day, and had come back to Leland Hill Estates, or had been at Leland Hill Estates on another day, and I literally got stuck in the brambles. They were so thick at one point, and you had to try to figure out how to back out without just ripping your wrist
Welcome to
out.
my world, Jen.
Oh my God, that was just, and then it was like the crazy ass tick check when you're all done, cause you're convinced you're crawling with ticks at that point, so.
I signed up for the conservation restriction workshop tomorrow night in Millbury, so it's all on baselines and doing that, so.
Yeah, and I asked Joyce, I just worked with John Gioa at the state to kinda learn this on the fly. So I did ask Joyce if she has any materials. I'd love to get copies, and if she hears any awesome pointers, I'd love to know what they are, because, I just kinda learned on the fly how to do these, so.
Kelly, got anything? I'm good. Mike? Good. Anything, Zach? Nicole? I had just had one question about a town-owned CR, and I've done a lot of reading on private CRs, because at one point I wanted to push them, but
Yep.
is there a guideline on what activities can be, like, fishing or hunting or anything on,
This is
on
all-
a town-owned, that's all good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think
We
this
wouldn't
one,
advertise it, but you
we
can.
might have, I don't know if we preserved hunting in the language on this one, 'cause it's
Okay, so it's all different in
close. It's very close to those homes. You gotta be at least 500 feet away to
Mhm.
discharge a firearm. So if the whole property is very close, kinda like this one is, to potential homes, we might eliminate that wording. Honestly, believe it or not, offhand, I can't tell you if I think on Leland Hill Estates, we eliminated hunting,
Mhm.
just because of proximity, and I think we did on this one too because of proximity, though I wouldn't think they would do that on the Grafton side.
Okay.
But yeah.
So they'll all be different, there's no baseline in
Well,
town for every.
there's a baseline at the state.
At the state, right.
starts with kind of all of those
Right.
allowances, and then you just kind of adjust based on the parcel, but
Oh,
we
okay.
try to maintain as much of their base and their allowances as we can,
Mhm.
so.
I can speak to the private one because I did that one for my uncle's property.
Yeah, I didn't actually do it, but I did a couple of the seminars and.
So you can put whatever restrictions on it you want.
Right.
Like, for instance, if I decide to give one for my backland and I wanna say my grandchildren can build houses on there,
Mhm.
but no one else can,
Mhm.
that can be part of it. So you still own the land and you put whatever restrictions you want to have on it. So that's what, we hold
Mhm.
the conservation restriction for the property over there. So
So
at some point, it needs to be checked to make sure that they're following the
absolutely.
rules.
So most state sanctioned CRs for open space that's derived as part of a project, they don't allow, homes on them
Mhm.
unless the home serves the open space purpose.
Mhm.
So like if you have a farmer, his house on a farm parcel,
Mhm.
but you can be more flexible, like Joyce said, when you have the private ones that are negotiated, you can put anything in there, so,
Excellent.
yeah.
All right, I think,
Make a motion to approve and accept the conservation restriction for Forest Edge.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signatures down the line, do you wanna do that now, if not, just the.
Yeah, we'll do it now so I don't, yeah, we don't misplace. I'm just gonna send this one page down.
Of course. Do you have any copies of it yet?
Bed pen.
Never fails.
So you should have a copy, well, actually, I'll give you the signature page, cause you'll need a full copy when it comes back from the secretary and gets recorded. Mhm. The last one came back from the state at record speed. It was back to us in less than a month. It was, yeah, amazing. Yeah, the new secretary just likes to get stuff off her desk. It's awesome.
When I did mine, I started in September, we had it done by January, and they said that was like
Record.
a record.
That was awesome. Yes, yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I'll let
Actually,
you do the honors.
found the most fun part was doing that baseline survey. That was the most interesting part. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Wanda, here's the file on that. And also, here's the, does anybody need to see the bills? Anybody would like to see the bills? Where are they?
Look at 'em, it's right here.
Oh.
You need to sign those plans too sometime during the evening.
We could do it now, we got a minute.
Well, you got one at 6:30, so Jen.
Oh, we
I
do
had
have
to
one
put
at
two
6:30?
6:30, yeah.
Where
for the
are
issue.
these? Yeah, just give it a quick signature, get that over.
Is this one?
Yep. The floor is rough. I'm gonna read this one in while you guys are signing, if that's okay. What's this one? That's LaFleur's property, it's a new plan we need to sign. This one was also at 6:30. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, at 6:30 PM, at Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for determination of applicability submitted to the Conservation Commission by Scott Modig, Sutton, Mass. The property consists of building a 24-foot by 36-foot detached garage next to the house on map 22, parcel 75, 9 Freedom Way, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Welcome. RDA, correct? Yep.
We have a resume?
Yep, it's just an RDA, so, let's hear about the project.
Just doing a detached garage right next to the house.
Okay.
And we're within the, is it 100 or 200?
100.
100 on a regular wetland, yeah.
So, but this is the approximate area, it's not perfect, I'm just showing you the general
Mhm.
area, right off the house, which is mostly in the driveway, and what's not in the driveway is in pre-existing lawn wetlands over on the opposite side of the driveway down here, but it's still within 100, technically within 100 feet, and downhill. The wetland's downhill, rather. Sorry, didn't interrupt.
That's okay. How close is the closest point of your garage gonna be to the wetland?
Approximately 80 feet.
80 feet, okay,
Measured that.
excellent. Do you have anything else on this one, Brandon?
The only concern, this is a standard thing the commission always brings up when you have new impervious surfaces, will there be any kind of infiltration for the new roof that's gonna be created? Otherwise, this is a no-brainer situation, technically within more than 50 feet away, so no notice of intent needed because it's in, existing disturbed areas. Just what's the commission's pleasure for dealing with new impervious area created as part of, like, the roof?
Are you doing gutters on the building, or?
No.
In the past, we've asked to do a stone drip edge along the sides of the building. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, no stress, that's all good for the mud too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we talked about that on the back side. The front side, and I should point out that, like, probably over half of where the garage is gonna be is an existing paved driveway. So the back half, I talked to Mr. Modig, on the property, he says, yeah, putting pea stone at the drip edge in the back is a good idea, especially keep the mud from, going everywhere. Front end, that side's gonna go into the driveway. And the driveway already goes downhill anyway, so I don't know if you have any questions or concerns about that side.
I don't, anybody? No? Good? Anybody?
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 9 Freedom Way.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Close the hearing, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
One condition, stone, drip edge.
You can put that in the motion.
On the back side, right?
Yeah, on the backside, right? Yeah, there's no signature sheet with this, so we're good, right?
I guess we didn't say it out loud, but obviously you're mindful for runoff. We didn't say hay bales or silt fence or anything, but you'll take
Yeah.
care of it. You don't have to put them up, but just, obviously if anything's gonna erode and go down the hill 80 feet away.
I spoke to Mr. Modig on site
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, just don't wanna silt up the wetland, that's all.
The signature page is in.
No. Nope.
Second page?
You guys wanna inspect the
There's nothing to
silt fence?
inspect.
It's
Nope.
nothing,
You don't have to
it's,
put it
with
up
an
unless you
RDA,
need
it's
it.
much less formal. It's always nice to, when the project's done, if we get a call and just do a walkthrough when it's over, it'd be very appreciated. That's all.
Oh,
I forget, your name again, sir?
Tom
Tom
Murphy.
Murphy.
Starting this fall, weather permitting.
Trying to make it simpler and easier, so just all, that's why I made the comment, just be mindful for any runoff. Cause to put it all around it's all you probably won't have any, but if you do, just put a little piece, not like a fence,
Yeah, right.
as needed, is the way we like to say it.
Good.
No problem,
So, yeah, you guys are all set, we're just waiting for the signature page. You're good to go, and then, Wanda will send that out, right?
Yeah, we'll get that to
Let
you
the
very
building
shortly.
department know, so you'll be all set.
Yeah, 'cause I put all the paperwork in.
Wanda will let her know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so John had to stop, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, awesome.
Perfect.
Have a good night.
Thank you, have a good
Nice
night.
way to break ground then.
Thank you. Yep.
Oh, John,
Well,
when John tells you to.
Yeah, yeah.
The permit will be coming in very shortly, once you have that in hand.
Yep.
Technically, there's a 10-day appeal period, but you can move forward at your own risk. I think it sounds like the lack of people here, that there's no objections, so.
All right.
I will need that file for
Oh,
you.
yeah. It's nice to read this stuff.
He's got one already.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, we are at, yep, we're good for time. Next up is 325 Central Turnpike. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, at 6:40 PM at Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for determination of applicability submitted to the Sutton Conservation Commission by Robert Cordo, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of repair footing, foundation, and pad for attached garage and install runoff system for new paved driveway on map 24, parcel 40, 325 Central Turnpike, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Welcome.
Hi.
We got all the fees paid and everything on this, it looks like. Just move right here. Okay, tell us about your project.
Okay, so, basically I have a dirt driveway and I wanna pave it. I wanna put a attached garage to the front of the house. Cause right now I have the garage under the house, it's grandfathered in. I don't wanna use it. Besides, I can't fit anything in these doors, they're like,
Yeah.
6 feet tall.
Mhm.
Water coming out from under the front of the house is the major issue. It runs down the top of the driveway all winter long, and I effectively have a glacier that forms from the edge of the road almost right into the garage itself. The most critical part, I brought this little photograph that I have, is these are concrete blocks between the garage doors. That's supporting the main carrier. The water emanates basically from this area. Even in this photo, you can almost see that the blocks are severely eroded. It is in imminent danger of failing. So that needs to be attended to. I'm compelled to do it properly. The water needs to be controlled with a system to bring it down to the road in what we might call an orderly fashion to an existing trench that leads to a cistern. And, if I don't get it done properly, any resources I spend on a pad or putting pavement will be destroyed in a couple of years, cause the water will, get under it and freeze. So, basically that's, in a nutshell, what I wanna do, put a garage and pave the driveway out to the roadway. But it sounds easy, but, the water control system, is actually gonna make it quite a lot more expensive for me to do it properly.
How close are you getting to the wetland?
That
Actually, more than 50 feet away.
Okay.
well over that, I would say, yeah.
Not, yeah, it's probably more like Mr. Modig, where you're like 80 feet away. But the issue, is that this is gravel right now. It's gonna become paved, so and the roads, the driveway slopes down to Central Turnpike, and there's a drainage ditch right here that goes down. So all the extra impervious area is gonna get picked up by the ditch, and it goes down here to a cistern and then across the street to wetlands over in this area. So I think the biggest issue is making sure that the water doesn't shed onto Central Turnpike, eventually cause some kind of ice jam, all that good stuff.
This happens from time to time.
Right, so there's a pipe underneath the driveway, and I think that the best way to deal with it, probably the easiest way to do it would be a water bar, like a little, like a little, no, like a ramp, like a speed bump kind of thing, to direct the water into the swale before getting to the road. I think there's enough distance between his driveway and the cistern that eventually goes underneath the road that it would give it a lot of room to infiltrate into the ground. That's just one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be to slant the driveway in a certain way and have a trench along the side or some kind of swale, but, you know, we have a plan here that was created by Norman Hill. It's just a plot plan with with the proposed garage superimposed. It doesn't show any detail on what would be done for the driveway.
Well, that was an issue I had. I'm still leaving messages with the architectural engineer. He has not called me back. And so I don't know what to make of that. I do have the topographical survey from the same company. If you care to take a look at that. I don't know if that has the information you would need, but I can show it to you. It's one of the big ones. It's one of these.
Yeah, how,
You wanna take a look at that?
yeah, how close are the contours? Is it steep or?
Doesn't look like there's any contours.
Yeah, there's some contours on that, I can see it, yeah.
You want to take a peek at that?
Where are we?
My understanding,
Oh, so it's
talking
not,
to
it's not fast.
the potential excavator to do the work, to put the drainage system in, you're gonna be removing much of the gravel and dirt, and replacing it with a particular type of crushed stone. And installing a step down drain pipe on the side of the drain, and bring it out. Now, I thank the town for putting in that pipe. It just got installed, like weeks ago, couple, just before they put in the paved road today, they finished up. That alone is gonna be huge in keeping the ice from going out into the roadway.
I guess what our concern is just in the new pavement, because you're not gonna get any water through new pavement as you would a gravel drive. It doesn't fly down your driveway and flood Central Turnpike and eventually ice over. So, you know, my opinion, I can only speak for myself, would be maybe just we can close it out and put language in there that, with special condition that a berm or a dip or something be installed to divert the water. Would that be,
That's the easiest way to do it. It depends on what
if you put a
level of
dip,
detail
you know,
you're
right before the
looking for.
road, it's not gonna go back uphill. It'll spill
Well,
off the
you know,
sides.
before they put the pipe in, like I said, they just barely put it in. The ditch that runs along the highway went right through my driveway. And it was pretty significant.
Mhm.
And that was simply to allow, I never filled it in, I simply, in fact, I encouraged the water. I had to get out there with a shovel and constantly, you know, make sure the water was flowing down towards the cistern. But that was a heck of a thing for me to come in and out of my driveway each time because of the severity of that dip.
Mhm.
And over the years, the water had gotten under the highway and caused the pavement to dip.
Mhm.
So getting in and out of my driveway was quite an adventure, so, already, they put the scrapings from where they, scarified the highway over gravel, over the pipe, and it does come down at a nice gradual angle that meets the driveway.
Yeah, that's all we're saying, we'll just put a special condition on it that your water can't go onto Central Turnpike, that's all.
Right, yeah.
It's a safety issue if somebody comes around the corner and hits the ice, you know.
It's also a legal issue.
There's
Right.
a lot of water popping out on the ground right here, and I saw his driveway, and Mr. Cotto pointed out to me, and the garage. You can see where the land was frost heaving under the garage and causing his.
Right, I don't have a proper, footing underneath the front of that house. And the pad of the garage itself goes up and down, and it's all cracked.
The ice.
That needs to be cut out and a proper footing installed, and I can frame it out.
Understand that.
And the way he's talking, he's gonna have some Schedule 40 perforated pipe and stone underneath the driveway, so that's gonna have to daylight as well down by the road. But again, you could condition the approval that all water must be directed into the ditch so it doesn't go into the road. That's, I think, the important thing.
Bill, you have anything on this?
All I can say is, I'm glad you paved your driveway, cause I've been looking at that when I drive by going, I don't know how you get in and out of it.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
It's really tough on a snowball.
And how are you gonna get that mint '67 Camaro that
Now,
you're working
it's,
on out
it's
there?
gonna stay indoors until everything's done. I can't work on it outside or in the house, that's all there is.
Joyce, you have anything?
No, just make sure it doesn't go onto Central Turnpike, that's all.
Nicole, you have anything? What? Zach?
I think as long as we make sure it doesn't go on to Central Turnpike, we're fine.
Make
One last question with the telephone
Close.
pole.
public.
Is this telephone pole, do you think it's gonna have to be moved?
It
This
will have
little-
to be
This little
moved.
brown dot.
This is an interesting story. I called, the lady that arranged to have the new telephone pole installed. It got moved close to the driveway and it will be too close to the structure if it's built. She referred me to another number. I called National Grid and asked them for a service, request number. They told me, after having put that telephone pole in and the new wires, cause I was planning on putting a upgraded service, they told me that they don't own the pole, Verizon owns the pole, and they shouldn't have done it in the first place. So I don't even know, I haven't called, I called my neighbor who was the electrician that was gonna do the work, left him a message to tell him what they told me. And I'm waiting to talk to him before I call.
I got a neighbor that's gone through it since June, and it's still happening, it still isn't finished, so.
The upgrade to my service,
No, moving a pole,
moving the pole is brand new and it's where they put it.
yeah.
And it's very close to the driveway, and it would be too close to the structure.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to make arrangements to have it moved, and I hit a little bump in the road with that. I don't think they're correct, I think they made a mistake. My understanding is that Verizon, being a cable company at the time, would pay the electric company to hang their wires on their telephone pole. So they have a number on the pole and everything, so.
Well, you got the equipment there, can you bury them out to the street, do conduit?
It's all above ground, I don't know about, there's nothing under the ground.
Might be worthwhile to look into that as an option.
I'll find out, it's gonna cost me, a bunch,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Right.
Right. One last recommended condition on this one is that there be a final inspection for final approval when the work's done. So if there's anything that we see that needs to be tweaked, it can get done before the big yellow machines leave.
Nobody here to speak on this, right?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 325 Central Turnpike to include a final inspection before sign off and to make sure all water does not head onto Central Turnpike and diverts to left and right and
Into the swell.
into the swell, yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I need a signature sheet for this one too, Wanda.
So, when you're getting towards the end of construction, give Wanda a heads up, and I'll come by and see how things are going,
And yeah, I can consult with you people, at any time.
absolutely.
If I
In
have-
fact,
Brandon has a
we
wealth of
recommend that.
knowledge.
I have
We recommend that.
a very highly recommended excavator. They tell me he's a machine operating savant. So, and he knows what he's doing, he's done this stuff before. So, I
And
have,
he's local,
yeah,
from down the street.
yeah. He's not locked in, so I don't wanna mention any names, but I'll tell you this much, he's the fourth person I've had that I tried to get to do this.
Yeah.
3 of them fizzled, they stopped returning my calls, they don't,
Okay.
cause it's a job.
Yep.
And it's more than they wanna do, apparently.
Well, then if this is the person you're thinking about, he'll be in touch with me. The secret to a successful project in town, I've found, is keeping in touch, mostly with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All it takes is just an email or a phone call or a text message.
And
We're
if this is the
happy.
person you're thinking about, they got my number.
I'm sure he
In
does.
more ways than one.
Yeah. So I can't pull any permits anyway until I get an architectural drawing, so and I don't wanna do anything this season because I don't want any concrete poured, during any freezing. So it's gonna be,
Thank you.
before a single pebble gets moved, it's gonna be sometime during next summer, after things dry up.
Okay. Thank you.
You're all set to go, sir.
Have a good night.
Yep,
You too,
absolutely.
thank you.
We should sign in one of these plans. Is there one that's stamped, or is
This
there?
one's stamped, alright.
This one is stamped.
No,
Oh, no,
those
it's
those got one stamped, yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing for me to sign or anything?
No?
Good to go.
Yep, good to go.
very much.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thanks for the tour the
This
other
one,
day.
is the signature one.
This, yeah.
This is non-stamped.
That one.
Yep, this is scheduled for 6:50 conservation time. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, at 6:50 PM, Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for determination of applicability submitted to the Conservation Commission by Rosemary Salem, Millbury, Mass. Is that correct, Millbury?
I live in Sutton.
Okay.
My post office box is in Milton.
Gotcha. No, that's minor. The project consists of repair concrete ramp, cap on wall, remove patio at water's edge, relocate next to the house, repair sidewalk with pavers, remove fireplace, canoe rack, and flagpole, remove 2 shrubs, replace with 3 high bush blueberry bushes, plus 6 bushes to replace 2 trees, removed 2017, map 15, parcel 65, 24 Mallard Way, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Welcome. All the fees are paid. I think we're good to go. So tell us about your project.
I've got a lot of existing concrete structures,
Mhm.
sidewalk, patio, ramp down into the lake, the top of the retaining wall, that are all cracking, crumbling, deteriorating. I think we've owned the property, my husband and I had owned the property since '77.
Okay.
I'm thinking these are probably 20 years even before that.
Mhm.
They were put into place, so they're really, they're almost becoming unsafe.
Mhm.
So they really need to get work done.
Yep.
I put some pictures, I think, with the application.
Yeah, we got 'em on
I'm trying
the-
to bring them up on the screen too.
Okay.
We have them on
They
our
definitely
iPad.
cracked.
Yeah,
Thing
it's
is, I
been,
don't know why that keeps
we've
spinning.
noticed it's been needed to, been worked on for a long time, and
Yeah.
we just never got
I
to do it.
think it's been there
so-
since Civil Atkins. Yeah.
Right, Joyce used to
Yeah.
use some of
Be
it.
careful of that, 'cause the homeowner's insurance will get you for that if somebody gets hurt.
Right, so that's why we need to do it.
Right.
I wanna get it done.
Yep.
You want that figure?
I'll take a peek at the deteriorating concrete. Okay.
She has a nice color-coded, plan here.
Okay.
It's very useful. I'm trying to bring it up, but computer's,
Not cooperating.
no, I'm double clicking and nothing.
Is that a smart TV?
Not really.
Oh, wait, something's happening.
Oh,
There we go.
look at that.
Oh, what's this one? This is 26. Why is it labeled 24 Mallard Way as a file, but it's 26?
Yeah, there's only one page to this. This just the first.
26 is on the agenda next,
Yeah.
and she lives obviously next door, so.
Well, this got named
You can maybe ask her
24
questions
somehow,
about
it's
what has disappeared.
26.
It's 26 has continued. Okay. Let's see here. So your is your new patio the same size as your old one, just in a different location?
Right, we'll make it be that,
Just
was-
about
that
within
was the
reason.
idea,
yeah.
right. The idea was to take the concrete away from the lake
Okay.
and then move it closer to the,
And the two repairs are you're not adding anything; they're just in-kind repairs, correct?
just in kind of.
Yeah,
There's 3 of them, cause the sidewalk.
right,
in front of the
my
house
opinion,
also.
Mr. Chairman, the only thing that really would fit this into having to require approval for something new would be removing the concrete patio and expanding the paver patio, but I think that they equal
Balance.
each other out.
Yeah, I would.
That and
go along with that.
remove a couple of shrubs from the stump pile.
That's a very good drawing, by the way, I like your plan.
The color coding is great.
Easier for me to understand, yeah, when things are different colors like that.
Pretty simple to me.
All right, anything else, Brandon?
No, I think this is a good project.
Anybody from the board have anything to say about this? Anybody from the audience?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 24 Mallard Way.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, close
You're all
your
set.
lose any sleep.
Good to go.
Thank you all.
Have
Thank
a
you.
great night.
I don't know if we wanna ask her any questions about what's disappeared from next door in her experience.
I already did.
Oh, you already did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Adams Pond is next.
What time?
26, 7, 10, or nothing. 26 needs to be.
As you knew.
Biology teacher.
Should've seen him eyeballing you when you're talking about him.
I didn't even know he was there.
We'll need a motion to continue 26.
Make a motion to continue 26 Mallard Way to November 20th at 7:10 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Right back on schedule.
7:10 is gonna be, West Sutton Road, Adams Pond, and they are not here, so we can table that if you like.
Make a
No,
motion.
they weren't coming.
Oh, that's right, that's
They
right.
weren't
This was
coming
just a
and-
signature, you're right.
DEP number, right?
My
Is that-
bad, yeah, we were waiting on a
Do they
DEP
have a
number.
DEP number?
Yes.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Well, it's not on here.
What is it?
I can look it up if you want.
I'm pretty sure.
It was
It's
303.
What do you?
Something.
Oh, something.
Hold on.
They didn't finish it.
Dan Buttrick's, DEP number. They get it? I thought they got it.
It's right here.
Yeah, I didn't.
Uh, It is 0917.
I guess I didn't put it on when I continued it.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Which one do you want?
710 West Sutton Road, Adams Pond. We just gotta sign the paperwork on it.
Make a motion to issue an order of conditions for
We
180.
didn't vote on that, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead, sorry.
Make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 187 West Sutton Road, Adams Pond.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, so we just need paperwork on that, and then we're good.
All that because we
0917.
didn't have the DEP number last.
Yeah, they've been
three-
slow.
That was 3 weeks ago too, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The longest one was that one that, Tim Callahan came in, that was like a month and a half.
Do we need this plan with the signatures? And slash, do
That
we-
would be good to keep with that, yeah.
Should we sign
Sign.
it?
Yeah,
Not a
let's
bad
sign
idea,
that in,
right?
yeah.
What'd you do with 24 Mallard?
We're just finishing that up now.
I don't know, the signature, is there a signature page
You
on
can sign it, I'm
187?
signing it. Yeah,
Yeah, that one.
Sign it into law.
sign it, sign away. That's my abbreviated signature.
No comment.
Check your plate, Alright, yeah, that can go over there. Yeah, we'll talk about other things.
Good, I'll sit right here then.
Wanda, could we just have the, paperwork for the state when you get a sec so we can sign that?
187 West Sutton.
The only thing I have is here, I don't have.
Where's the
any-
order?
Yeah, we gotta sign the order on that.
Is it this one? No, that's Marsh Road.
It's mine.
Here it is.
Where did that come
I
from?
don't have the plans.
Oh, that's the one we signed, you can give that back to Wanda.
They didn't give us any plans for that.
Yeah, they had that book though that we,
Yeah.
Brandon, do you have that
Can we
book
sign the
from
plans
Ty
on
and
that?
Bond? Should we sign that in
Book.
for this project?
That.
Yes,
Well,
they are.
storm, well, couple. Is this the- I'm
Together?
sorry, that's 30. Oh, the application, but this book right here?
Yeah, do you want us to, should we sign that in or just?
There's nothing in
Nothing
here
to
that,
sign.
Okay.
that needs to be
Nothing
part of sometimes when there's a stormwater report involved,
303, what was it?
should
917.
0917.
I was listening.
Well, we should have some sort of plan to sign with this.
We don't have it.
We don't have it.
No, I haven't signed anything.
We have a
15-minute gap on this
I'll
one.
have to see if I can get him to send a
Um,
plan.
And what time is this next one up at?
7:20.
7:20, so we got a couple of minutes here.
The minutes,
Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 4th, September 18th, and September 25th, 2019.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who did the second on that?
Joyce.
Alright, on 290 Putnam Hill Road, when I went to do that, what
I did the
happened was-
inspection of 290 for the COC.
Oh yeah, that's a certificate, that's not the one I'm thinking of. There's an earth removal form here that's gonna be, this is the first one coming through, you usually get 3 of them.
Okay.
And Jen's been trying to get them all together, but it's not
For this
happening.
project?
No, this is for a different one, that's for earth removal. We get those just about every year.
Oh, yeah, this is for the,
Right on 146,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, the pit or whatever, yeah.
I guess ownership has changed, but
Does anybody have any issues on this?
So what,
On
I'm
what?
just curious what exactly it is.
We have to do it every year because this is the one where they're selling material out of the pit still, right?
yeah,
So they sell material out of the pit, and in order to be in the town of Sutton, in order to be able to sell more than, I forget how many yards of material, you have to have an active earth removal permit every year.
Okay.
So it's, I forget who owns that.
it's
So it's just like a
fine.
permit to
Yeah.
remove the.
Yep,
okay.
to sell the sand and gravel. Does anybody have any issues with
Isn't that the one that just came into us for something else, though, too?
Which one is it?
Bedoing,
Oh, it's
Huff
the-
Road,
That's just fine.
That's,
off Huff Road.
that's across from the, industrial park there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that, they
it's
had
the
been-
backside of some other,
Yeah, it butts the,
Pine.
what was it called, the industrial
right.
park that was gonna be expanded to go down into, to
Mhm.
Douglas.
Yeah.
It has yet to be built. They had been expanding it towards the wetland on the Sutton property. I don't know where they are at the moment, but it looks like the last time we checked, they had stopped at an appropriate location.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago, we were down there.
Yeah,
Oh, you want me to leave that as a comment on this and sign it, or how do you wanna do it?
I couldn't tell you how expansive the operation is at the moment. or if they're-
haven't been down there, I don't know.
I know that they knew where the wetland is, where they're at right now with the, current limits of work, I don't know though, so I couldn't even speculate.
So.
Wasn't there a section that we found that was standing on the trees, and then we did another,
Bless you.
there's another section down there, I think, that it's probably a moot point now, but
So how does the board wanna proceed with this? Do we wanna do a site visit, or do we just wanna sign it and put a suggestion of no further encroachment to the wetland, or?
Well, I don't even know if they've encroached the wetland to begin with, to say that.
could we ask for them to to give us some sort of,
It's all there.
where it,
Yeah, there's a whole-
okay, there's a map and
There's a
everything.
map
It
showing
says,
what their extensive
it
work
says
has
where it
been
is
at.
now.
The back of it is in our jurisdiction because it was close. If you wanted to look at the plan, it's the back side.
Okay, so we have that information, okay.
Yeah.
I would probably be able to point out where Dole is.
Is that pit even active?
it
Minorly.
It backs up to Pine, and there's a big steep part, and they're working on the other side.
I think that they more drive through it than actually sell material out of it, but.
And they gotta keep the permit going, if we still sign one for
Well, once
Worcester
that
sand and
permit's,
gravel.
well, I was
or-
just gonna say, once that permit's gone, you're probably not gonna get another annual permit for earth removal down there, so they probably don't want it to let it lapse.
So here's the 2013, but I was we've done this exercise before.
Yeah, I remember it this time last year.
Right, so here's the wetland, here's a stream, it goes up to the cemetery, and this was the extent back in 2013. I don't know how this has expanded since then. One of the cool things is I have a drone now.
Isn't there an invasion of privacy thing, though, if you fly it into somebody's
Good
yard?
question.
No, I think I read about
It
that.
hasn't been officially
Oh, it hasn't been signed
dealt
in?
with, so that's all up in the air.
Are we gonna vote on this?
Literally.
I know, we probably
Yes.
should.
I'm gonna recuse myself, cause Pine Sand and Gravel, who I do business with on a regular basis,
Okay.
is who has the rights to this.
Yep,
And if I exchange money, that's,
yeah,
I could financially
Yeah.
not benefit, but.
good idea, that's good.
I'm gonna make a motion to sign the earth removal permit, and with the condition, if they're approaching into the wetlands, they have to come notify us.
I recommended language that all, land disturbance stay a minimum of 100 feet away from wetlands.
That all land disturbance stay 100 feet away from any wetlands.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye. Yeah, Nicole's in on this one.
Yeah.
Earning her keep tonight, right? I don't wanna stop them from doing what they gotta do.
Right.
6.
All right, so that's that. Okay,
Do we have to sign it or no? Just you?
just a representative from the board. You could have signed it if you wanted to.
Nope, that's quite all
You
right.
sure? All right, let's go back. We haven't had anything on 290 Putnam Hill, so we'll go back to that. So we're now at 7:20 conservation time. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 6, 2019 at 7:20 PM at Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review an amendment to the order of conditions submitted to the Conservation Commission by Karen Green, Hopkinton, Mass. The project consists of amending the order of conditions for revised location of proposed well and future septic system location on map 15, parcel 4330 Hemlock Drive, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. And just let it be known, I do live 2 or 3 house lots over, so if anybody wants me to recuse myself, I will. Seeing none. Okay,
Perfect.
you're up.
For the record, John Federico with Gurrier and Almont, representing Karen Green. That is the certificate of mailing that we've done for the project, and then Wanda just requested 3 additional sets of the plan than what was previously submitted, so I have those with our letter as well. For this plan here, it's very simple for what we're trying to do. During construction activities, from our previously approved order of conditions on it was August 8th when it was recorded with the Registry of Deeds. We had found out that the well on site has had some contamination with it, and therefore our client would like to just construct a new well within setbacks that are allowed for both Board of Health and Massachusetts State Code.
What
As
kind of
far as what we're
contamination?
proposing-
What kind of contamination?
I believe it was a rare animal that was found.
Chipmunks in a shallow well?
You're kidding? Wow, I never heard of that. Interesting.
Yep. So what we're proposing is just gonna be a well located in this clearing space in between the tree line. That area is existing. I believe there might just be some small brush that's currently located there. If not, Marty, you might be able to confirm it. There might be some gravel or something there as well.
Nothing bigger than an inch that's gonna be cut down, and we have to bring in a couple loads of gravel to make a pad for the well truck.
Okay.
As far as what we're proposing, erosion control devices would be the same that's currently used on site, so silt fence with a mulch stock. And then we also are proposing, just downstream of where the well is, a small sump to handle any sort of spoils when they're digging out that well. As far as a future location for the septic system, we're not proposing to do any sort of modifications or changes to the septic system as it currently stands. But in the future, if the system, which is currently a cesspool, ever was to fail, we have determined that this location within the gravel driveway is going to be the only area where a soil absorption system can fit onto the site. And then as far as any setbacks we're dealing for both the septic system location as well as the well location, we do have constraints from a neighboring septic system here, and then as well as a few wells on the site. As far as location was determined, we did try to abide by all setbacks possible, 10 feet from driveway, right-of-way lines, property lines, etc. And did try to stay as far away from any sort of wetlands and or any trees that could potentially be cut down with the construction of it.
Looks good to me. Looks good to Brandon. Anybody on the board?
I was wondering if that proposed septic system would be too close to the proposed well.
As of right now, we are over 50 feet away from where the proposed septic system would be, and then under a repair condition, we would be allowed for it. Unfortunately, we are very limited on our site going further up the hill in order to either site the well or the septic system location. So it could possibly be in the future, once soil testing is done, that they might have to opt for a tight tank in that case. But we have not explored those options or done any soil testing yet. As I mentioned, the system currently is functioning. This is just for future cases.
It's all pretty waterlogged there, so I think a tight tank is maybe in the future, but anyway.
Anybody from the audience on this one?
So if we approve a proposed septic system, does that mean that we're excluding a tight tank?
No.
I wouldn't believe so.
Yeah, I think we're just approving the location.
Yeah,
For
for any
any well.
future septic.
And that would have to go to BOH anyway.
Yes.
Right.
And that looks like an appropriate location because it's not gonna happen between the house.
And there's so many
And the
wells and
water.
septics there, that's probably the
Yeah.
only location.
I mean, it's really wet down there. to
Yeah,
begin
I know.
The only way you could do it, and you'd never get the truck down there, would be to put the well right on the edge of the lake.
Yeah,
And then
it's already cleared out right
Right.
there anyway. You get a little sump hole showing, so that's great.
Joyce, they have to prove before they can do a tight tank that they have no other option. Like there's a whole, it never gets missed, it's a whole process and there's no paperwork that the only way you can have a tight tank is if you cannot have a system. And it's on existing conditions usually, always. So I don't think we could make exclusions for anything
Right.
like that, that's all Board of Health.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to issue an amended order of conditions for 30 Hemlock Drive.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
It was Bill on the motion, and who on the second?
I second.
Thank you.
We gotta sign one of these new plans too. Is that the stamp?
This one hasn't been stamped, but I'll sign it.
Stamp whatever one you sign.
Take care, Marty.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. This one's-
That's all part of it.
so this one or the other one?
That's 30 Hemlock, isn't it?
Yep.
When you sign in.
The one.
This one right here. Starting to gather all kinds of stuff, yeah.
This letter goes with it.
Do we need to sign the letter or no?
No, just when you stamp it though.
Joyce, you gotta sign that.
I'll do the letter.
Yeah, it looks a little small.
What did you say, a tech? Well, that's not good.
Bad bulbs in
I had one crawling on me the other morning. a little one of those little deer ticks.
So you know winter's coming, yeah.
It's when the larvae come out,
Yeah.
the nymphs.
11.6 being material. 11.6. Back to drive. Oh. All right, we are now at 7:30 for a pre-application meeting for 2 Reservoir Ave boat ramp repair in kind.
The other plans that were with this. Oh, I got it, okay,
I-
I didn't realize you could do it.
Is somebody here for 2 Reservoir Ave?
You're supposed to be.
Make a motion to table 2 Reservoir Ave to the end of the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we've got 15 minutes to burn, so we'll go back to the board business.
Who did the second on that?
Zach.
Zach?
Okay, 290 Putnam Hill Road, lot 9.
Yes.
You wanna sign that one?
Yeah.
No,
Or not? Hold on.
Let's have a discussion about it.
I went to the site to do the certificate of compliance inspection, and I noticed that in the back of the house, the owner decided to take upon themselves a unauthorized old farm dump cleanup in the woods up to as close as 10 feet away from the wetland boundary. I understand, without even, they weren't home, but even without talking to them, I can understand what they were trying to accomplish. But the bottom line is that they have a bunch of exposed soil underneath the forest floor, kind of a bit scarified. I can see they put down some seed in preparation for getting it seeded for the springtime, but it's a little too late now for that to get established. And they have piles of brush and junk from, the old farmer from, 60, 80, 100 years ago. That and the wetland buffer signs along the back side of the house are not up yet, like in conjunction with the work they're doing. So it needs to be put on hold a bit. I think this is like more of a slap on the wrist kind of thing. I don't see a problem with them finishing the cleanup that they're doing. I can, they're trying, I'm sure if they talk to us right now, they'd say that they're just trying to clean the area up. Innocent enough, but they're working near the wetland in the area outside of the approved limit of disturbance, and they still need to put up the signs. So it's not quite ready.
Do you wanna send that email out and let them know, or have Wanda, send it to Wanda and have her send it, in your words?
Yeah, you have to
It's
send
just
it to me
290 Putnam Hill Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will, and you have to get it to the new owner. The Romeos don't own it anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not,
It's been sold.
Mario, Gianni, or, I found out there's 6 of them.
There was 3 involved in those 3 houses,
Yeah.
wasn't there?
Romeo, Mario, and Tony.
Yeah. Excellent.
I met all 3 of them the other day. And then while I was there, I checked on the other 3 houses. And overall, it's looking like they're staying within their approved limit of work. I told them that the silt fence is in rough shape and it needs to be tightened up immediately. Other than that, that and the portion of the driveway going into those 3 houses was full of dirt. They said when it rains, it's gonna go out in the street, and you don't wanna see any dirt floating down the street, so you gotta keep that clean through the whole winter.
Okay, so we know what we gotta send them.
Yes.
All right. Site visit for the CFC for 11 Tucker Lane.
That one's ready.
We're ready for 11 Tucker Lane.
Is that okay to sign? This is 11 Tucker Lane, what do you have there?
That's just a pile of trash, I think.
Okay, what's that?
was
one of the extra plans.
So everything looked good on this one? Okay. Anybody have any issues with 11 Tucker Lane? I think we could take a motion on that.
Make a motion, issue a certificate of compliance for 11 Tucker Lane.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now you wanna go back? Dutch Hill, close. Dutch Hill, that's right. Why did I say Burbank? So next thing on the agenda is Woodburyville Heights, and I'd like to give props to Nicole on that one. Nicole actually tracked down the property, the management company, and we are all set to sign for that. And what year was that? 1990 what?
2002,
Oh, 2002.
part of it, let's see, before that it was,
Early 90s probably.
I think so, 94,
That's excellent.
somewhere around there. Because it was here before me and I've been here 19 years.
I feel like I've been here 21 though.
Sign this and I can get rid of that.
This is huge.
His father and his brothers sold all that land.
11 Tucker?
Them.
No, from Woodburyville.
Big property.
I wasn't involved with that, so I wouldn't even know where to begin.
All right, we now have a 7-minute gap for the next,
Are we sure they're at 7:45 and that's just not a typo? Cause I
Was-
know we're doing 10-minute gaps, just.
No, it, for some reason it got 45 instead of 40.
Don't want them to have to sit here too long.
we have no other unexpected business, correct? Can we,
Is there anything,
got 5
with,
minutes.
I know I got a question, I think from Jen about 85 Gilmore. She wanted to know why
I had put it on the agenda.
there was a vernal pool study and what was going on with that, so I explained it to her that as part of the mitigation plan for the unavoidable, impacts in the buffer zone, in the aura, that they were required to do a vernal pool study at a couple of sites, a couple of spots on the property, and that there was one cursory investigation done last spring, with an inconclusive determination, and that they offered to go back in 2020, and the commission accepted the offer. So I think, and she hasn't gotten back to me with any further questions, so that's been cleared up.
Linda, whenever you're ready.
And I don't think there's anything else.
I did an erosion control inspection for Mr. LaFleur and looked at the nice, new walls and everything over there. And I was at a meeting last night and the neighbor was complaining that they cut down too much brush and that the goldfinches weren't gonna be able to nest there and so forth, but, they
Well-
took out a lot of invasive species.
He did, and Glenn Kravosky, I think he got a little overzealous.
he was there doing it by hand, you know.
I know.
Glenn was cutting it off?
Glenn
Yeah.
clear cut it right to the,
Glenn,
like me, like cut. it
Glenn
did
was
nothing.
there in his SUV with gloves on doing it.
I think
Out,
the property
out in the
looks
middle of the
beautiful.
I
water.
do too, and
And then somebody must have came behind him with equipment, because what I saw was a massive land clearing operation.
oh, on the side there? That's
It's
permanent
hydro
though.
seeded right to the edge of the stone
The
wall, what do you mean
road,
by
the
that?
road, yeah.
There's nothing left. It's clear cut, stumped, grubbed, all the trees are gone, all the vegetation, all the invasive species, all brand new walls. I mean, I never remember any discussion about all of that.
There wasn't.
It went from, hey, this was a mowed field, why don't you continue to mow it, to a cleared cut, major construction operation with all new walls.
Was it necessary
We
for them?
permitted the walls. I thought that they said they were gonna
I
repair
don't
all the
remember any
walls.
discussion of that.
The wall was an in-kind repair. What wasn't approved was the clearing all the way down to the edge of the brook. Down at the Mumford River is what it is.
That has a 200-foot jurisdiction.
Which, yes, and so what I told Mr. LaFleur, because it was already done, and he was saying how beautiful it was and how it was really necessary to get in there anyway to get it all, like you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, but I said, listen, that's not even your property. So the Conservation Commission didn't even have authorization to let you do that, and his answer was is that the neighbor said, sure, go ahead, do it. That's just him telling me. So I said, well, you know, you have to let this grow back up, the slope. He says, no problem. So that's where we're at.
Was it hydroseeded with like conservation mix or?
It was just on the edge of the road, it was hydroseeded, not the
Oh,
whole thing, yeah.
right.
But I thought they had, you have to clear it, we had to, maybe not to the extent Mike is saying, but you had to get the invasives, it was loaded with invasives in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, because, you know, the order of conditions is only good up to the property line.
And that's over the property line?
Who owns that property? The neighbor does?
Yeah, neighbor does, guy across the street.
Oh, Andy Mosher's property?
Yes,
Is that
Andy Mosher owns it, yes. So, it's, but then Glenn went all the way down to the water, which was on Mr. Mosher's land.
How much of it does he not own?
Not much.
I was gonna say, because I remember
Not
going
much.
there and I looked at the plan and I thought
You get the stone wall as the property line,
yeah, right.
and then there's the slope going down to the water that Mr. Mosher owns. I told him, the section that's Mr. Mosher's, you gotta let it grow back up. You can, yes, go ahead, suppress the invasive plants, nobody's gonna argue about that, but you can't keep it as a lawn. He understood that. So,
Well,
I
they
mean, that's where
they
we're at.
kinda had this, the stone wall away from where the little waterfall is there and everything. And I think he said they followed the contour, so it wasn't quite straight, they followed the contour, but. Anyway, there was a big, black walnut tree there, and a guy came over and he said, I've never seen such a big apple tree, and I said, that's 'cause it's a black walnut tree.
And the clearing continued, I think, a little overzealously even in the back. What it did do was expose all the beautiful stone work along the river, which is really phenomenal. At the same time, he didn't technically have authorization to do as much as he did. I leave it to you.
I think it looks beautiful. I have not seen.
Yeah, but you got a neighbor complaining, and it was clear cut right to the edge.
Not to us though, right?
Yeah, not to us, and I'm not making light of the complaint, if there is
Yeah,
a complaint.
we don't have
Wouldn't
a
you think at the
complaint.
very least he should plant a few things?
We can't, we
He
can't
has it
make
on
a
the
complaint
property.
on the neighbor's property.
Well, you can water the property
It'll
line.
grow up next year anyway, probably, stuff will grow back.
It will grow up, yes.
Was there anything bigger than, was it?
He cut
4-inch?
down a couple of dead ash trees, which I'm sure he would've had an arborist come in for anyway.
Mhm.
If he didn't already have approval for that, with the order of conditions, I can't remember. Everything else was mostly just thick brush.
I'm
which,
fine with it all. It just sets a precedence that people can do what they want.
yeah,
Cause you don't seem to have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it, you know?
the big thing is that he has to let that slope grow back.
Well, I think that would be the problem, if he doesn't let the slope grow back and he starts mowing it once a week or every couple weeks, then that's gonna be the problem, but.
Right, so let's think about it, what's the right way to approach this so it doesn't happen in the future? Should we just send him a letter and say that he's ordered to, that's a no-touch zone? And
Well,
to let it grow back?
I think that he's,
We don't wanna set a, like
Well,
Mike
wait a
says, we
minute,
don't
that's
wanna
not
set a
his
Yeah,
precedent.
but it looks beautiful. It looks like you reclaimed what was there 100 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like going back in time, but the other thing is, didn't it, when Bob was on, didn't we
But, I
change
didn't
something
mean
to
to
allow?
interrupt you, but, so we're saying it doesn't have any impact on the wetland, that you have the Mumford River with a 200-foot riverfront district, you can clear cut to the edge of it, you can plant hydroseed, redo all the walls, and it's all cool.
Well,
I'm cool with it.
the state did it with the dam removal, bring it back,
Did you see what they spent doing that?
I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they
So
said,
the
they're bringing it back.
outcome was a box culvert crossing, I don't think that's a good comparison to a residential home. But, like I
The
said,
comparison was, they said they brought it back to how it was 100 years ago.
oh, I just said that, I just made it, well, it had to have, cause there is this beautiful stonework.
If it's not his property, we can't do anything
Well,
unless
some
the
of it
neighbor
was though,
comes to.
it wasn't all his property.
Alright.
We're making accusations, not even looking at a plan.
Right.
Going off of memory, we can see what was done. And you can see it from the street at 50 miles an hour, you don't even have to get out.
And like I said, we don't have an actual complaint on it either, so.
Well, we have a board with an order of conditions
Yeah. Okay.
that wasn't followed.
Maybe dig into
But like
it.
I said, I personally don't have a problem with it.
Mhm.
But let's be honest about it, and, you know, if we're gonna bring it up and have a discussion,
Mhm.
then that's cool. just remember that as other people file and they come in and then go and do something totally
Well,
different.
he'll have to come in for a COC, and then we can examine it and have him come in and explain.
And if too much is cut, you can make a replant then,
Right.
right?
Hmm?
I'm cool with
Yeah,
it.
you still have that as a tool.
It's conditions
Okay.
open, the order's open.
It's 7:45.
Excellent. It is 7:45. The Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 6, 2019, 7:45 PM. Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road, Sutton, Mass. The purpose of this hearing is to review a request for determination of applicability submitted to the Conservation Commission by John Krula, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of replacing a failed septic system, new tank and leach field, abandoned old system in accordance with Title V on map 11, parcel 124, 91 Dodge Hill Road, Sutton, Mass. This notice is publicized in accordance with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, commonly known as the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Come on up. Who's gonna do it?
We're not sure what we're supposed to be doing, we're just told to be here.
I can help you out.
Yeah, Brandon will guide you.
I can help you out. Let me find where you are.
I might be able to help too.
We
yeah.
actually thought the engineer was gonna be here or a representative from their side.
No, I think this is a pretty simple, necessary, this is a Title V septic upgrade requirement. The wetland is the property, here's the water tower on Dodge Hill Road. The wetland's back in here, in the woods. The proposed septic system upgrade is over here in this corner.
All lawn, right?
All lawn, no woody vegetation has to be taken down.
Where's the existing system located?
In the back of the house.
So we're getting farther away from the wetland.
Yeah, let me see if,
I think that,
I
I
ever
don't
got
know
a
what their
digital
measurement
copy.
was, but they did do a measurement.
And you're on town water there?
Yes.
Yes.
here we go. Let me bring up the plan here.
Yeah, I have it, but it's facing the wrong way, and I don't know.
Oh, did I put it in there upside down?
Right.
I don't think you did, I think it's just the way it loaded.
Maybe, yeah.
Alright, so Dodge Hill Road is right here, driveway is the house, the wetland is behind the house, way back here in the woods. Here's the existing system behind the house, and the new system's gonna be up here. It's gonna be, at least 100 feet away from the more than 100 feet, cause here's the buffer zone right here. So, I mean, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah. And it meets, there's no other wells within proximity, that's all town water, right?
Gonna abandon the old system, I assume, and that's basically collapsing it, filling it, right? So that's grass area too?
Yes.
Right, so, the question, the checkbox on the request for of applicability is whether the work depicted on the plans referenced below is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or the bylaw. So I would say that it looks to me that even the septic tank is slightly outside of the buffer zone, so all work is going to be outside of jurisdiction.
Except for the filling of the old system. That's probably why they're here.
No, that's under by the porch.
That's, yes.
Yeah, but that's within 100 feet of the wetland, right?
I don't even know if they.
Basically, you're just gonna cut this off, and you're gonna let the,
That just stays.
that
Right.
just stays, are you gonna dig
The
that up?
No,
tank
just
is
the tank's gonna be built
at
in.
the deck, which is
It's way away from
closer to the house.
Looks like 50 feet from the map, but that's okay, that's nothing.
The line with the Bs is the buffer zone?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's actually before the new tag.
Well, that's a 50-foot buffer, Brandon.
Oh, it's a 50-foot buffer?
That's a 50-foot buffer zone.
Oh.
The 100-foot BZ's in
50 foot, okay, I'm wrong.
the 100 foot's in the front of the house.
Alright, so it is subject to jurisdiction, but I'm gonna guess that this is gonna be a negative 3.
Right, it's no-brainer for me. Does anybody else on the board have any questions, comments? Anybody from the audience?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Second.
Take your pick.
Joyce.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination for 91 Dodge Hill Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're good to go.
Thank you.
Good to go.
Easier than we thought.
Sorry you had to wait so long.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
Have a great night.
You were supposed to be talking.
I think
Okay, and there's a no-show from that
There are
other
two
person.
no-shows,
Yeah, for
Wanda.
some reason, this person, this Joseph Driscoll did not show up.
Wanda, I think I don't think I have the right form here.
What have you got?
Where's the box that I'm losing, either that or I'm losing my mind and I'm half sick, so it could be, but isn't there a box?
Now
that I'm
you
supposed
told
to-
you half sick?
I've been half sick for a couple days. Isn't there supposed to be a box that says negative determination that I check? It's not on this form. Unless I'm you tell me, I might be losing my mind, I don't know.
I think that's just the signature page.
No, this is signature.
I check off.
He does
Okay.
the other part of it.
Perfect,
So,
alright.
yeah, this is just a
Sounds good.
signature page.
Excellent. I think we have everything on here, and I would entertain a
Make
motion.
a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Second.
do we, just question, do we need to make a motion to like move the no-shows to the next meeting?
No.
No, cause it's,
No, it won't move to the next meeting because
No, I'm not here to ask for
I have no
continuance.
information, I have no way to get in touch with him.
Perfect.
all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Or you need to-
Kill it.